What if I combined two of the most beloved video game worlds of Pokemon and Elden Ring? In this video, I've created Pokemon teams for my favorite bosses from Elden Ring based on what I think fits their design, lore, and personalities. For most of them, I chose a general typing, but I didn't limit them to singular types like Pokemon gym leaders. Feel free to skip to the different bosses through the timestamps. For my first Pokemon team, I chose the very first boss, Margit the Fell Omen. Margit himself is a tall omen who sprouts curly horns from his face and guards the castle entrance with his giant stick. Because of him being the first boss, he is rather plain, and because of his giant wooden staff, I chose most of his Pokemon types as normal or grass. For the first Pokemon in his team, I chose Pinsir. Visually, they share similar spiky horns and a similar color pattern. For the second Pokemon, I chose Burmy from Gen 4, as his leaves form a cloak and his head looks like horns, as well as the sticks at the bottom, which resemble Margit's staff. For the third Pokemon, I chose Aegislash, as he mimics the golden daggers that Margit summons to throw. For the fourth Pokemon, I chose Tangrowth, as the swells are similar to Margit's horns, and it looks like it could be out of the sewers, which is where most of the omens in Elden Ring are. For the fifth pick, I have Chestnut, because of their similar beards, and he mimics Margit's tall, imposing figure. For the last pick, I chose Shiftry, as he matches the old man yet still ferocious aspect of Margit. For the next team, I chose General Starscourge Radahn. He is a giant warrior who has gone crazy after his duel against Malenia. He's slightly more difficult as he has a number of different things to draw from, like his giant swords, red hair, gravity magic, and his savage personality. For the first Pokemon in his team, I chose the Steel Ghost type Doublade to represent his two giant swords. For the second Pokemon, I chose Mudstale, the ground type, as Radahn's horse is a huge part of his personality and lore. For the third Pokemon, I chose Armorage, as he has the golden armor as well as the flame-looking red hair. For the fourth Pokemon in his team, I chose Ghastly, as he looks exactly like the purple meteors that Radahn summons in his second phase. For the fifth Pokemon, I chose Houndoom, as his horns look similar to Radahn's helmet, as well as matching his wild, aggressive nature. Now for the last Pokemon in his team, I chose Null, as I thought that their helmets and shadowy faces matched similarly. For the next boss, I chose Rennala of the Full Moon. She's a giant sorcerer that uses ice magic. She's the head of the Carrion royal family and is located deep within the castle. She uses a lot of blue looking magic, and I think that most of her Pokemon would be psychic type. For the first Pokemon in her team, I chose Lunala, the legendary Physic Ghost type. They both share an obvious connection to the moon, and I think Lunala has a feminine vibe. For the second Pokemon, I carried on with the moon theme and chose the rock psychic Lunatone. For the third Pokemon, I chose Miss Magus, who is an obvious pick as they're both witches. Similarly, the fourth pick, I chose Hatterene, the Physic Fairy type, for the witch resemblance. For the fifth pick, I chose the psychic type Azelf, who I've never seen before but fits the blue color of her magic. For the last pick in the Rennala draft, I chose Dragonair, just for the similar visuals and color scheme. I couldn't seem to find the right Pokemon to match her summons. For the next boss, I chose Maliketh the Black Blade, who starts out as a cloaked beast, then reveals a giant armored wolf with long white hair and a giant black sword that emits bright red flames. I knew I had to pick a team that matched his aura. I chose mostly dark and fire/ground types. For his first Pokemon, I chose Might Yena, the dark type, for the wolf resemblance and the dark color palette. For the second Pokemon, I chose Galarian Moltres, the dark flying type who has bright red flames similar to Maliketh's. For his third Pokemon, I chose Terrakion, the rock fighting type who has the same imposing figure of Maliketh in his cloaked form. For the fourth Pokemon, I chose Zoroark. I debated whether to put the Hisuian form, but chose the normal version as the black color fits better. For Maliketh's fifth Pokemon, I chose Darkrai, for the white hair and the dark form, as well as his serious attitude. Finally, for Maliketh's last Pokemon, I wanted someone to resemble his black and gold armor, so I chose Dusknoir for the common patterns. The next boss is Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. He's a giant old warrior with golden armor and a lion spirit on his shoulder. He's Margit's father and the first ever tarnished. In his second phase, he loses the weapons and armor and consumes the lion to fight at full power. The first Pokemon in his team I chose was Solgaleo, to obviously represent the giant lion and show his grand energy. For the second Pokemon, I chose Haxorus, who looks like his giant golden axe. For his third Pokemon, I chose Machoke, the fighting Pokemon, who looks very similar to Godfrey's second phase. Continuing on in his second phase, I chose Conkeldurr, the fighting Pokemon who looks imposing and has a similar beard. For Godfrey's fifth Pokemon, I chose Ursaring, the bear, as Godfrey has a move where he bear hugs the character before slamming him to the ground. Finally, for Godfrey's last Pokemon, I went with Cleaver, the part ground type Pokemon with two axes, who I thought matches the vibe of the rest of his team. Last but not least, the most well-known Elden Ring boss, Malenia, Blade of Mikola, who is an optional late game boss known as the most difficult. Lore-wise, she is undefeated and guards the Haligtree with her giant sword. In her second phase, she turns into the goddess of rot. Similarly to Godfrey, for her first Pokemon I chose a legendary. The steel fairy type crowned sword Zacian seemed fitting because of the golden sword and the helmet, as well as the red hair. For her second Pokemon I chose Bisharp, the part steel type, as they're fast and menacing with blades and match the red and gold color scheme. For her third Pokemon, I picked Scolipede, as it's one of the only red poison type Pokemon. The poison is meant to mimic Malenia's Scarlet Rot. For the next one, I chose Vivillon, as in the second phase, Malenia uses her wings made of lots of small pink butterflies. For her fifth Pokemon, I chose the steel type Scizor, as they both have the red color and the threatening nature to match Malenia. Finally, for the last Pokemon, I could have chosen someone who resembled flowers, but I wanted someone more menacing, so I chose Mega Mavil, the fairy steel type who fits better with Malenia's theme. So these were my choices, and there were certainly a couple tough calls. At times, I just had to go off their vibes, so I hope you saw my vision with some of them. Please let me know which ones you would change or which bosses you would like to see. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos.